My email account was turned into, the biggest scandal since Lord knows when. They covered it like it was Pearl Harbor. This was the biggest nothing burger ever. I inherit nothing from the Democratic Party. Comey was more than happy to talk about my emails, but he wouldn't talk about investigation of the Russians. I also think I was the victim of a very broad assumption I was going to win. There's all these stories about, guys over in Macedonia who are running these fake news sites.
I was the victim. You could sum it up in that phrase. That was Hillary Clinton, of course, last May, laying blame everywhere except with herself for her defeat in 2016. Now her book-length take on that campaign, which is called What Happened, is about to come out. Has she changed her thinking? Apparently not. Mrs. Clinton takes some responsibility for her defeat, apparently, but later falls back on blaming, of course, you know what it is, sexism, for her unpopularity. Quote, "What makes me such a lightning rod for fury? I'm really asking. I'm at a loss," Clinton writes. "I think it's partly because I'm a woman." Mark Steyn has written many books that do not involve blaming others for his problems. He joins us tonight. Do you feel that people discriminate against you because you're a man?
I blame you, Tucker, because as far as I can see, you're about the only person that Hillary Clinton hasn't blamed. I don't know how. I mean, this is extraordinary to me. It is as if every hurricane, from Hurricane A to Hurricane Z, including Hurricane Bernie, Hurricane Biden, all the way to Hurricane Macedonia, Hurricane Sexism, have all just gathered to rain continuously on Hillary for 2 years. And it's extraordinary to me that the Democrats have not actually had a quiet word with her and say, look, I know you need a new book or something, but why don't you just do, Hillary Clinton tips on being a grandmother, Hillary Clinton cookbook. Anything would be better than just revisiting. I mean, it must be the only people it's good for. As you say, she blamed the Macedonian content farmers, and it must be good for Macedonian tourism, like New Zealand after Lord of the Rings came out. There must be people booking vacations in Macedonia right now saying, I gotta see it. It's a pilgrimage to the people who took out the most inevitable presidential candidate in history. I gotta see what it is. And if I can't afford, if Macedonia is fully booked, I'll go up to Burlington, Vermont and see Bernie Sanders.
Well, but have you ever, I mean, look, she wasn't going to write Deep Thoughts by Hillary Clinton, the shortest book ever written. But have you noticed how the most entitled people often see themselves as victims? I mean, this is someone for whom, who obviously didn't become the nominee on the strength of her own achievements, which were, I don't know, what? Wrecking Syria, wrecking Libya. I don't understand why she sees herself as put upon when I think objectively she's just the opposite.
No, and I think that's why people did not warm to her, because she was the entitled candidate. She felt she was owed it for having suffered through being married to Bill Clinton and being in the White House for Bill Clinton. I don't think people were sexist about her, and I don't think people anywhere in the developed world. I sat through Prime Minister's questions in the Australian Parliament a couple of years ago when the female Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, was being hammered by the deputy leader of the opposition, Julie Bishop, now the foreign minister. They were going at it hammer and tongs. They were both women who'd reached the summit of their respective parties on their own merits. What nobody liked about Hillary Clinton was that she was not an obvious candidate, except in the sense that she felt she was entitled to be the candidate.
Right. That it was a hereditary deal. I wonder going forward if you see Hillary Clinton as the standard bearer for the Democratic Party 10 years from now. I mean, is there Hillaryism? Does anything about her endure as part of the Democratic Party?
No, I think quite the opposite. And actually, that's where the attack on Bernie Sanders is not going to work for her. Whatever you feel about it, the Democrats are trending in a Bernie-like direction.
Exactly.
That's where the enthusiasm is. And I think there's absolutely no doubt in that respect that the party is moving left. And Hillary has no ideological or philosophical worldview that's going to outlast her candidacy. That was true from the Vapid vapidity of her campaign, whatever you feel about Bernie Sanders, and she says, she calls him now, you know, the Bernie, the one who's promising everybody a free pony. Whatever you feel about that is Bernie Sanders is where the Democrats are headed, and they will barely remember the Hillary candidacy.
That is a deep point. That's exactly right. And I want my pony. Mark, thank you, as always.
Thanks. Saddle up, Tucker.